How to factor an algebraic expression. So you should know these three formulas, which I already wrote in the previous video. Plus b squared, a minus b squared is equal to a squared minus 2ab's plus 2 squared. A plus b times a minus b is equal to a squared minus b squared. If I want to factor an expression, to factor something means you have products, and in those products, you have something called a common factor. So a product is a multiplication. Here I have two multiplications, one here and one here, and the factors are the numbers that are multiplied. So here your factors are x minus 2 and x plus 2 for this multiplication. For this multiplication, your factors are x minus 2 and x plus 7. I need to find a common factor, which means something that is both in the second and the first. And then I will write this, and it will be in common between the two multiplications. It means it's like when you say I have red shoes and a red shirt, you can say I have shoes and a shirt that are red. Like my shoes are red and my shirt is red. My shoes and my shirts are red. And you don't ask yourself why in the second sentence you didn't say red twice. It's the same reason why you don't write this twice, okay? And you open brackets and square brackets or brackets, it's the same. And then you write everything that you didn't underline. And here, your expression is this. Of course, you simplify what's inside the second pair of brackets. So x, I have 1 and 1, it's 2. And here my constant is 9. That is how to factor an expression. Second example, or I'll show it on the same example. If here you had a minus, you have to be careful about something, which is when you want to get rid of these parentheses and you have a minus in front of it. Be careful, because this minus, in fact, it's minus 1 times the rest of this. It's minus 1 times this and minus 1 times this, which means, so this is a plus, right? It wasn't written. When the sign is not written, it's a plus. So this multiplication here by minus 1 will change the signs of every number in there. It means when you have a minus in front of your parentheses, you take out the minus, you take out the parentheses, and you change the sign of everything that was inside your parentheses. The plus becomes a minus, and the plus becomes a minus. And if you had a minus, it would become a plus. So of course, this changes my results, but it was not my point. It was just to show you what happens when you have a minus here. Okay, now, if I want to expand b, and b is, say, x minus 3 squared minus 2x plus 3 times x minus 3. You can only see your common factor if you write the factors down. So this is x minus 3 times x minus 3. And if you don't write it, you won't see what your common factor is. Oh, yes, x minus 3. Here I have twice the same. So I will have to choose. I take only one factor in that multiplication and only one in this one. You can choose to underline this one or the other. It doesn't matter, right? So you write at the front the common factor you chose. Here, it's a multiplication. In fact, you could have you could write it after the brackets. And here, you copy everything that is not underlined. So here we have a minus, and we will have to change the signs when we take the parentheses out. So I get x minus 3 times, so here I have a plus in front of my parentheses, which means I don't change the signs. So I take out the plus and the parentheses and I don't change the signs, which means I get plus x, or x if you want, minus 3. And here I have a minus in front of my parentheses, which means I will have to change the signs. This plus will become a minus and this one 2. Changing the signs doesn't mean you always have only minus, right? It means if you have a minus here, it will become a plus. It will change. So I get x minus 3 times, how many x do I have? So I'm earning 1 and losing 2, I'm losing 1. And how many constants? I'm losing 3 and losing 3 again, so I'm losing 6. This is finished. It's my expression is this. Of course, you can factor the minus if you understand what you're doing. So if you're supposed to factor an expression, your final result is going to look like that, a product of parentheses, right? And eventually another number, but it's a product at the end. Of course, if you have to factor something that looks like that, like x squared minus 16, you're supposed to recognize one of these formulas. If you don't see the formula, it's always the third one. It's always the third one no one sees, because this is x squared minus 4 squared, which means it's a squared minus b squared, and it's going to be a plus b times a minus b. Same thing if you have something like that, 9x squared minus 30x plus 25. This is 3x squared minus plus 5 squared, 2 times 3x times 5. So you recognize the second formula, and you're supposed to recognize it really, and to know that it's 3x minus 5 squared. So this is how to factor an expression. When you will want to study the sign of an expression, of a function, for example, if you want to study the sign, if you see that in the exercise you need to study the sign, you need to factor the expression, like all the time. This is how it works. Okay,